I put up a poll the other day asking you guys to choose which recipe video I would make next, and the very clear winner was nacho cheese sauce. So that is what we are going to be cooking up today. Let me go ahead and go over the ingredients. The spices I'm using: black pepper, salt, chili powder. Then I have, of course, some shredded cheddar cheese. I'm using beef broth, but you can use chicken broth or vegetable broth, depending on whatever you have on hand. Cream cheese, green chilies. These are fire roasted diced green chilies. Some finely chopped onion and some chopped tomato. This is arrowroot starch, which is what I'm using. You could also use cornstarch if you don't have arrowroot starch on hand. And then this is half and half. So let's turn the camera down and get started. This recipe is actually very quick and simple. I'm just gonna throw in everything except for any dairy and the starch. When you're cooking in the Instant Pot, you usually will want to keep the dairy to stir in at the end. There are occasionally some recipes that include dairy that is pressure cooked, but for the most part, a good rule of thumb is dairy add at the end and don't boil it. So first thing I'm going to do is throw in my onions. That's half a cup. Then I'm going to throw in my fire roasted canned chilies. This is just a 4-ounce can. And then a half a cup of finely diced up tomatoes. And one shortcut that I'll mention is if you have some salsa in the fridge that you need to get rid of and use up, you can substitute about 1.5 cups of salsa for the tomatoes, chilies, and the onions. Next is 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of salt. One more ingredient I forgot to show at the beginning is some granulated garlic or garlic powder. I'm doing 1/4 teaspoon and 2 teaspoons of chili powder. Now I'm adding in the beef broth. I'm doing 1.5 cups. Just gonna give this all a quick stir and it'll be ready to pop the lid on and get it pressure cooking. I'm gonna make sure my steam release valve is on the sealing position. It's gonna cook for 4 minutes on high pressure. It's already on 4 minutes and the high pressure light is lit. So I'm gonna let it cook for 4 minutes and then let it natural pressure release for 5 minutes before I quick release the rest of the pressure. While the Instant Pot is cooking, I'm going to get my dairy items ready. I'm gonna be adding in 4 ounces of cream cheese, which is half of a regular sized block. And it stirs in and melts in easier if it's softened up a little bit before you dump it into the hot mixture. So I'm gonna put my cream cheese into a glass bowl and microwave it just for a few seconds at a time, just to get it softened up a little bit. It took about 15 seconds to get it nice and soft and just at a really smooth, stirrable texture. Then we are going to do 1 cup of medium cheddar cheese. I'm just gonna get that measured out so it's all ready to throw in as soon as the Instant Pot is finished. In this little bowl, I'm gonna mix together my thickener, which is either arrowroot or cornstarch, and my half and half. I'm doing 2 tablespoons of arrowroot, and you can do the equivalent with cornstarch if that's what you have. And I'm going to mix that starch with 1/2 cup of half and half. And as soon as the Instant Pot has been releasing pressure naturally for 5 minutes, we'll be ready to move on to the next steps. The pressure has been releasing naturally on keep warm mode for 5 minutes. Now I'm going to quick release the rest of the pressure. I want to turn it on saute mode, so I'm hitting cancel and then hitting saute, and I want it to be on the hottest saute setting, so I'm pressing saute again to get to more. And once it comes back up to a simmer, I am going to whisk in my half and half and starch mixture, and it'll start getting thickened up. Also, while it's coming up to a simmer, I'm just going to take some of the liquid in here and mix it into my cream cheese, and that'll just help the cream cheese get stirred in and get smooth quicker. cream cheese is nice and smooth. Now I'm going to put my half and half and starch into the inner pot, and I'm just going to simmer it, just barely bring it up to a simmer. It thickens really fast. So we'll bring it back up to a simmer, and then we'll add in our cream cheese mixture and our cheese, and once that is melted and smooth, it'll be done. So this recipe, you can see, is really, really quick. So it's already thick. It literally takes seconds to heat up and thicken. So I'm gonna add in my cheese, start letting that melt. And I'm gonna add in my cream cheese mixture. And now I don't want to boil the cheese or any of the dairy for very long. I just want it to simmer barely, and I just want to stir it until all the cheese is melted, and then I'm going to take the inner pot out of the base so that it doesn't cook any longer than absolutely necessary. And that is all there is to it. It is done and ready to serve. This is great, of course, served with just chips and queso, or on top of burritos or tacos, like on top, a drizzle over nachos. It's delicious and amazing. I've also found that it saves really well. Some cheese sauces I've done, they kind of turn into bricks in the fridge, but this one, it actually stays pretty liquidy and reheats really, really well. And it has been a family favorite recently. So that is my Instant Pot Nacho Cheese Sauce. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you make it and what you end up putting it on. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you again real soon.